get a lot of times, my vet told me, if I put my dog or my cat, on home cooked, I'm going to kill them. And I'm thinking like, they're being dramatic. And they're like, no, they use those exact words. And I'm like, oh, okay. But the kibble, right? The fake, process, basically feeding McDonald's every single day kibble is what they're trying to tell you is going to keep your pet alive.
Welcome to NWA Connie Corsos podcast, where we talk all things dogs.
Welcome back, NWA Connie Corsos. We're here with another guest, Mrs. Danielle Rukia, right? Did I get that right? I'm sorry.
Rukia, that's okay.
Okay. There we go. All right. So, Detox to Purify. Is Instagram your main thing where you do your thing at?
So I have my Instagram account, but then I have, I don't know for people if they haven't heard about it before, but it's called School with, so SKOOL.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an up and coming, platform. And I appreciate that more because listen, I want to get the message out. I want to be able to teach people, but it's not really great to be like, oh, just go check my Instagram page when they're trying to learn something. And I've got, hundreds and hundreds of videos. So the School platform is nice because it's like, I can really pull out the information that I want people to know, to focus on. And I say, it's like going to the library. It's all organized, folders, so that's like, I'll teach on Instagram, just to kind of get the message out, but then I'll drive people over there to really make it less overwhelming and things like that.
Right. And that's SKOOL School app.
Correct.
Yeah, I've discovered that app recently. It's a very cool app. Mm-hmm. So you're the creator behind Detoxify to Purify. You focus heavily on holistic health, the connection between parasites, toxins, and behavior, and spiritual, physical bond between humans and their animals. So we're probably going to get a really good show on humans and animals, how some of the stuff you teach can help both species, So you got a 18-year-old dog, and I would say that's the main proof of your concept, your lifestyle, and your philosophy. Tell us about that.
So she's actually going to be 19 in May. But listen, I've always, for the past 20 years, I've been in the health and wellness space, you can call it. I had my own health challenges many, many years back and dealt with Western medicine. And, you get to a point where you're like, there's got to be a better way. You're like, this can't be it. And that led me to just doing a lot of learning for my own health, and kind of at one point, I would say, so my dog, I rescued her at probably about 3 or so. She came to me with the same health issues that people want to work with me about. She was loaded. Her belly was so inflamed. It was bright red, almost purple. It was ear infections, all the things, right? The scratching and the eye infections and just a lot of stuff going on. And, I back then, right, I vaccinated my pet. I trusted the vet. I did all the things that I thought as a responsible pet owner, I was supposed to be doing, checking all the boxes. And same thing, kind of like with my health. She was getting sicker. And I kind of gave her, another vaccine that they recommended. There was a spot on her backside that blew up to the size of an orange. I called the vet. I'm like, listen, there's something going on with my dog. And they're like, no, it's normal. And I was like, okay, this is not normal. Like, that kind of just did it for me. And I was like already on my own, health and wellness journey. And I was like, what am I doing? Why am I not making the connection, between what I'm doing for myself and my dog? And I did, I was that was the last time I went to the vet, and that was over 15 years ago. And
cool.
Yeah, listen, if my dog needed veterinary care, I would say to people, I would never withhold it. But I've learned how to treat her. And unless your pets really have an absolute emergency, most of the stuff you can do from what's in their bowl and what you have in your cabinet.
True. What area of the country are you from?
So I'm in New York, Long Island, New York.
Oh, I figured I was getting that East Coast feel.
Yeah.
Welcome to the dirty South.
Oh, yeah. I like it.
Yeah, so look at here. So wow, you just said a lot then. The food bowl, right? Mm-hmm. Let's dive into kibble. I want to see your thoughts on that. And you use a term called clean kibble. What is that? And what are your thoughts on kibble in general?
So kibble in general is tough, right? Again, back when my dog was having all the issues that she was, and this was a really long time ago, I tried to find what I thought was clean kibble, okay? Like the most, or I would say the least amount of inflammatory ingredients, or, and the seed oils. And I tried to look for more of the limited kibbles and things like that, things that were not going to drive that inflammation in the body. But nothing changed. You know what I mean? Like, I just couldn't get my dog's system to relax. And that's when I realized, like, as you really look at kibble in general, even if it is clean, sure, there are definitely cleaner kibbles out there. But at the end of the day, it's still processed. It's still, do you know what I mean? It's dry. It's dehydrating to the body. It's dead. There's nothing about a kibble that is going to create any type of really health and wellness in the body, especially not longevity. You know what I mean? It's still processed. So as we know, being on a processed diet for, your entire life, what are we expecting out of our pets? And this is why so many of them have so many health issues, skin issues, the whole thing. It's really sad to see.
Mm-hmm. So I know it's problems within all breeds, but do you see more of some of these like allergy problems, skin, ear infections from certain breeds more than others when people may consult you?
No. Maybe back then, no. This is every single breed. I will tell you 99% of my clientele that I work with, it is all different breeds, sizes, the whole thing. They are most of them, 99%. And I talk to a lot of people. That's what they come to me for. Skin issues, the kind of eye issues, ear infections, it's all connected, right? Because it's the body trying to release that toxicity, and it tries, those are the drainage pathways. It is across the board. And I say, listen, there's no way that this is the new, pandemic amongst animals, that they literally have allergies. And I work with people all over the globe, so it's you have to look at what's driving these, I'm going to say so-called allergies, because they're not allergies. It's the inflammation trying to make its way out. And I certainly know what's driving that inflammation, in all these pets.
Give your dog the best start possible. We offer proven tools, products, and supplements backed by our real-world experience and our passion for healthy dogs. Right. Do you think any of it could be genetic, the way they were bred?
Yes. I also think that's a huge thing. That's so not, that's a whole nother probably topic, right? But
yeah,
it's
you're right. Yeah.
out of control with what's going on with breeding. Dogs that are not meant to be bred together. You know what I mean? So do I feel like it's allergies? No, I still feel like it's inflammation, right? It's right. It's dogs that again, if you put certain dogs together and it's like they have these breathing issues, they have these structural issues, right? They can't walk. They're like, it's a mess. Yeah, but the breeding is,
that's bad breeding as well. Let me ask you this: what's your dog name? The one that's the senior dog that's not
Casey.
Going on. What was that?
Casey.
Casey, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a long time going on 19 years. What has that dog taught you about the aging process that experts or vets never could?
Oh boy, a lot, right? A lot. But I want to keep it so simple because it is so simple. They taught me about to do everything that they don't do, right? Because it is so incredibly simple. How have I kept her, right, healthy and not even healthy? It's like I say to people, I'm not looking to drag my dog through life, right? If she was sick, if this got to a point where it's like, she's just not functioning, that's that hard decision. But this dog still walks miles a day. She's staring at me right now. It's awkward. I could feel it, okay? Because she's like, you just got home. Where's my afternoon walk? What are we doing?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Who's
they
that man talking to you? Yeah.
yeah. She's like, who's taking up my walking time?
Right.
But they told me to do the opposite. They did, right? All these vaccines that are harming our pets, loading them up with toxicity that leads to the inflammation, the skin issues, all the things I mentioned, telling people to listen. Clients come to me with all sorts of information, right? Because I don't have that connection with the vets. And when they tell me stuff, I'm like blown away. And I get a lot of times, my vet told me, if I put my dog or my cat, on home cooked, I'm going to kill them. And I'm thinking like, they're being dramatic. And they're like, no, they use those exact words. And I'm like, oh, okay. But the kibble, right? The fake, process, basically feeding McDonald's every single day kibble is what they're trying to tell you is going to keep your pet alive. And the ones that they love, right, are the ones that the vets get kickbacks for. There's those couple, the science diet, and they're awful foods, But yeah, it taught me honestly to do the opposite, of what is out there.
Right. So you even kind to attach, like with behavior, some of the issues dogs have with parasites, heavy metals, still diet behavior issues. What kind of cases have you seen with this?
I mean, I think the biggest one is, I know these seem a little bit more extreme, but they're really not. Again, I'm in a space of following these stories, of hearing so much of animals, specifically dogs, right, turning on their owners. Okay, attacking their owners or attacking a child, within the family, like, oh, my dog, right? This is my best friend and the greatest dog ever. And all of a sudden, what? The dog wakes up one day and decides, to attack its owner. Like, these are things that are happening all of the time. And to me, that doesn't make sense. That didn't come out of nowhere. When you poison, a body, you poison the mind, right? So we're going to keep jamming these animals. Nowadays, if you get a dog, guess what? They're getting a 5-in-1 puppy shot or a 6-in-1. They even have a 10-in-1 puppy shot. Yeah. That makes my head want to pop off, because 10-in-1 for a tiny little puppy, and then they'll give the same amount of a vaccine to a cane Corso, as they will to a little Chihuahua. So it's like, what do we expect? How do we expect these animals to be able to function when we're breaking down their body on a daily basis? Because they have all those poisons, and then we put poison in the food bowl, and we're like, we don't know why. You know what I mean? They're literally losing their minds. Well, look at half the world. Half the world's crazy too. And why is that, right? The food and the medicine and all the other things that people are exposed to, and you're not going to fare well, when your mind and body is being poisoned.
Right. I want to say something. I hope I don't get in trouble. But I think too that the vaccinations, just even on the human side, I think I read somewhere where the level of autism today wasn't like that back in the day because of some of these shots and different things, jabs that we were taking. So it's both on the human and pet side, huh?
I mean, the pets, there's a lot that needs to be looked at, and I think it just has to be discussed, and our pets, it's between, all that stuff that, right, is being kind of put into them as puppies. Then you have these flea and tick medications. Those are neurotoxins.
Yeah.
Right. That's going right to the brain. I have more clients coming to me now than I ever have with dogs having seizures.
Yep. I was just going to say that. Yes, ma'am. You sure right. Yep.
Yeah. The seizures are, do you have experience working with dogs with seizures? I'm like, I'm getting probably, honestly, 40 messages a week. And they're for dogs, that, my dog's on medication, seizure medication. But my vet said, I got one today from a client, my vet said that it's not going to stop the seizures, but it'll make them better. I'm like, right, but think about it. The toxicity in the body from everything the vet, unfortunately, has recommended causes seizures. And now you're taking medication, which is adding more toxicity to the body. So sure, they're unfortunately not going to go away, but it's a lot. It's a lot for these animals, and who is detoxing their animals?
So in a nutshell, you saying we're living our, you asking pretty much, are we living our lives, or are the toxins living through us, basically? Yeah. So as far as the personality or behavior, do you ever remember seeing a shift in an animal after a detox? You may have talked to somebody.
So I have, not only on the physical piece of things, is definitely huge. Again, coming to those skin issues and the ear infections, all like the health, aspects, but even the animals that, like, again, I'm seeing a lot of animals too, which, if you don't talk to people, you don't know about this stuff, that are on anxiety medications, anti-anxiety medications, right? I have a client that reached out to me, right? And she was like, my dog's on Prozac because my dog has separation anxiety. And I'm like, okay, we've got to fix that, right? That's like a neurological issue. Again, our animals are being absolutely fried. And then these behavioral changes that are coming into play, they don't make sense. This is not anything that our dogs, I'm 44 years old. I grew up with animals. Do you know what I mean? My family members, friends, can you ever imagine back then someone saying, yeah, I better get my Prozac for my dog? Because
No.
Can you ever imagine?
No.
You know what I mean? So it's gotten pretty wild.
Right. Let me ask you this. I have this question. It's a lot of fear mongering nowadays, but in modern society, it's kind of built on the fear of germs and external threats. How did we lose our trust in the body and the animal's innate ability to heal itself?
Well, this is all money driven, it's sad, but it's true. I think we all know that, this comes down to even Western medicine, right?
Yeah.
It's all money driven. If there's, if this world is healthy, where does the money come from? You turn on the TV and every other commercial is about the latest and greatest drug that's out. You know what I mean? That's money. Like, that is just, right? The flea and tick industry makes millions, almost $1 billion a year. The veterinary industry makes, just a disgusting amount of money, but they're also being taken over. So you really almost can't find, almost like Western medicine, right? I don't know if you have like Northwell out there for like your medical stuff, but like Northwell is like this company buying up, you know what I mean? All of the kind of like what used to be small and like your mom and pop, like medical.
Oh yeah. Right? We have it going on in almost every industry, veterinarian,
right?
And the business I have, I service buildings, and they buying up everything.
So you don't get to make decisions anymore, and I get it. It's not always that I feel like it's the fault, of that medical professional. But at the same time, like, you got to be able to educate people. I understand maybe they're feeling pressure and feeling pushed to have to do certain things, but you certainly don't need to be telling people that if they put their dog or their cat on a home cooked diet, it's going to kill them. Like, come on now. These are smart people. Like, they have to know that feeding something processed. I want to see what some of these feeding people are feeding their pets. Okay. Because I can almost guarantee that it looks very different, because they definitely know. And they usually are doing things very differently behind the scenes.
Right. Give your dog the best start possible. We offer proven tools, products, and supplements backed by our real world experience and our passion for healthy dogs. So I got a friend of mine, Anthony Tosco. We were talking about you before we started. Believes wholeheartedly, and I know he's been feeding pretty much raw diet since I known him. Wait a minute. I don't think I want to get into that yet. Well, maybe so. Okay, let's go ahead and do it. So they just gonna really have to go to your app for this question. But what are some of the basic things people always have a misconception about when it comes to the diet? You know?
Okay. So, well, we can bring up then that piece about raw. Okay. Because this comes up a lot. Now, I am not saying, right, that there's one way of doing things, okay? But there's a couple misconceptions, right? That people just think kibble's absolutely fine, and we had dogs forever, right? Your old family dog, and it lived to 19 and was on kibble. All right, but also the same way we talk about today's food for humans, completely different, okay? It is made with even more awful ingredients than it was, 20 years ago, because they can make it cheaper and they can charge us more. That's where we're at. So the kibble in general, yes, is bad news. But the raw piece, this piece gets people so twisted, which is crazy to me because I just educate. I'm not trying to say that it has to be one way, but because we now have another space of people that feel like it's only raw, right? It can't be anything else because it's so closely connected to like what they used to eat in the wild. All right, it's 2026, right? Our dogs have not been foraging for their food for decades, okay? Decades. And these dogs are being born to mamas, right, that are growing up on kibble themselves. So when you then try to introduce a puppy, sometimes if you can do it early on and that gut microbiome hasn't really been messed with much, sure, you can get a dog, doing raw and they could do absolutely great. But I'm going to tell you more often than not, and I had my own personal experience with Casey, she did not do well. And most people who come to me who have their dogs on raw, they are not doing well. And so, again, I do understand because their gut cannot handle it, but their gut can't handle it. That is the bottom line. There's a lot of dogs that have major gut issues and they cannot process, but because people are saying, hey, this is the only way to do it and it's the best way to do it, I have clients that are just pushing forward for a year now. The dog's throwing up, they're throwing up bile, they have diarrhea, but hey, I was told, right, that's not the issue. Like, it's not the raw diet. And then we get in there, we calm things down a little bit. We do a little bit more of that home cooked, and within weeks, sometimes, I mean, literally weeks, it makes a huge difference for that particular animal. So I like people just to open up their minds and not feel like there's only one way to do something.
Right. So could you go into a little bit, because it sounds like you're not all the way with the raw food movement. What is this? I don't know how far you can go into your teachings, but what does the food bowl look like in a general for you? I mean, what are we giving them?
Yeah, I could definitely go into it. So yeah, I do teach people how to do home cooked. I just have found that has worked way better. So what I do, and so simple, like literally so simple. So I pick a protein. Okay. I typically will pick a beef. I will pick maybe bison, lamb, like everything also kind of depends on that dog, right? So if a dog, again, most people are coming to me and their pets are pretty sick. So I'm choosing for that particular dog and situation something that's lighter, right? That's not like heavy fat based, something that they can digest and process a little bit easier. So I may start out with, again, like maybe a white cod or a turkey or something like that. But I do cook it up. I do drain the fat, right? Just kind of take out a little bit of that, again, so the gut doesn't have to work as hard. So I'll drain that. I pick some easily in the beginning to digest vegetables. So things like zucchini or maybe like a butternut squash. I put those when I'm cooking my meat or I'm cooking my veggies, no oils, no butters, a little bit of water so it doesn't stick on the bottom of the pan. And then the veggies, I just break them down frozen. Okay. Also, I should mention, easy. I just get frozen vegetables, throw them in the pan. And once those are broken down, they go into the blender to puree because our animals don't really break down plant protein that well. So this helps them to digest it. That's pretty much it. And I just did a reel on it, I think like 2 nights ago. I just put on there what I do, what I've been feeding my own dog for over 16 years. That's it.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Everybody, this is her Instagram right here. And of course, she said she has a school app. So be sure to check this out. This is her record. Excuse me, sorry. Okay. You talk sometimes about just the energy of animals, the human being. Do we affect our animals in any way by us being unhealthy? Does that pass along and maybe the spirit of our animals? Because, our animals can pick up on certain things. We use them for medical purposes and stuff like that. What is your thoughts on that?
1,000%.
Okay.
So many different things, but I think sometimes too, health and wellness wise, like I just see also like a lot, you tell me too, if you notice this, but a lot of overweight animals. I mean, a lot of overweight, so it's like, I feel sometimes too, if you're not maybe living, right, or we're not living the healthiest lifestyle, it's like, right, if we're not active, if we're not out taking our pets for a walk, like I feel like that plays into it. I have a lot of clients. I love my clients, right? But a lot of times they come to me, they're super worked up, right? They're super tense. Their animals are sick, right? And that, of course, is going to make you stressed out. But I do a little bit more counseling sometimes with my clients, right? As I'm kind of teaching them about this stuff, because our dogs pick up on our energy. My dog, Casey, even though I've had her, again, for well over 16 years, she was a rescue. She was abused so bad. It took me an entire year to rehabilitate this dog. I mean, I couldn't use the ice maker. I couldn't put the blow dryer on. I mean, any noise, she was horrible, right? Even to this day, her old age, okay, being almost 19, there's still things that kind of like trigger her, right? So I'm more like just, I'm just always even keel with her. Like if I see something on her, right? I'll just give an example. I found a tick like a couple weeks ago. I know what to do, but I do spaz out. I'm human, and I'm like, oh my God, there's a tick on her. And she goes into this weird, like stone, she lays down because she hears my voice go up, the inflection in my voice. She's like, oh crap, something's going on. And she gets nervous and she panics. Like, so I always tell people with anything that's going on, you got to just kind of, your dog will 100% pick up on your energy, so you just go into it calm, have a plan. I think people need a plan because that keeps them from, getting anxious. And that's usually what I try to help people figure out.
Gotcha. Supplements. What do you supplement, or do you think everything should be right there in that bowl on its own?
I do supplement, but I do think supplements are gimmicky. I think most of them are garbage. Just be blunt about it.
Why don't you be honest about it?
they're full of garbage. You know why though? Because pet supplements really are. They are purely full of garbage. Like you will even see these pet supplements again. I talk to so many people, and anytime I'm working with someone, I'm like, tell me what you're giving. Show me a picture. And even for my people that are like, do their research, they're like, oh, it's an organic product. Right. Show me the picture. And I'll still look at the added ingredients, and it's got like, oh, okay, organic ingredients. And then at the bottom, it's got bacon flavor, on it. It's like, oh, Lord, they're getting you, they did you dirty with that. Okay. Because that's processed, and that's got a ton of, it's not natural, even though they want to label it as that. But they're just absolutely destroying the supplement industry in general, whether it's for people or pets. It's gimmicky. It is awful. I do use some supplements, but it is only after the body is ready to accept that supplementation. So if you looked into my inbox, you'd be like, oh God. I mean, hundreds of messages that I get. What can my dog take for this? What can I take for that? I'm always like, this is not gatekeeping. This is me telling you that a supplement is not going to help or work when the body is loaded with toxicity. So I'm more root cause, like working in the bowl, getting the gut to kind of, recalibrate, then working on like detoxing, right? Getting rid of that toxicity. When the body is ready at that point, then it's going to absorb those nutrients. But if you do it out of order and you do it when the body's completely overloaded, you have expensive urine. The body will not absorb it. It goes in and it's just going to come right back out.
Give your dog the best start possible. We offer proven tools, products, and supplements backed by our real world experience and our passion for healthy dogs. Right out. Yes, ma'am. Okay. If you could give people just one belief system to hold on regarding their health, what would it be?
Simplicity. It is, and that's a simple answer, but simplicity. Mm-hmm. It is focusing. That's it. Like, listen, when I had my own health challenges for many, many years of my life, many. Mm-hmm. So again, I learned what it was like to be part of the system. And then when I sort of got out of that system, I moved over to more like working with functional doctors. I'm going to tell you, they were not much better. I was spending a ridiculous amount of money on all this testing to walk out with buckets of supplements. That's why I don't jump to supplements. And it was difficult. It was hard to keep up. I felt awful. And when I really learned what the body needs, which is once you empty that internal bucket of toxins and you try not to put those back in, then you are just working with just food. With Casey being 19, people think like, oh my God, what are you doing over there? What am I doing? I feed her. That's what I'm doing. That is 90% of what I do is what I'm just feeding her. Seasonally, sure. I get in there. I do some of that, a little bit of that deeper, detoxing. And maybe I'm focusing on 2 supplements. I do not even give them every single day. Maybe we'll give them a couple days, throughout a week. And then guess what? For 2 weeks in a row, she'll get nothing. Because why does the body need to be propped up with supplements? It doesn't, you know what I mean? Right. So I like really, really bring this back. And it's so much easier than people realize. And that's what I want to teach. I don't want people being overwhelmed by this, because then that's why people never get started.
Right. So this might be a dumb question, but I'm asking. So I know you're holistic, right? But when it comes to medications, injuries, inflammation, all that too, is that going to be 100% natural for holistic ways to even in the human body? I'm just asking, what are your thoughts on medications?
I go 100% holistic. Okay. I was someone that was put on medication for everything. So when I was like younger, right, it was like, oh, she has allergies, or, oh, I've got strep throat. And it was antibiotics as I was like a young kid for everything. And those antibiotics led to other things in my body not working, right? And that was just more medications. And this is the hamster wheel, I call, that I was on for so many years. So that was from when I was probably a little kid till, maybe like 28. When I got off that hamster wheel, I have not been on, so I'm 44. I've not taken an Advil, a Tylenol, an antibiotic, nothing since I'm in my, upper 20s. It's not necessary, right? Like if there's an emergency and I need to be opened up, listen, that doctor, okay, my hat's off to you. That is a brilliant person for the most part, because I don't know, it's getting a little dicey too now. Hospital error, you know what I mean? It's like the number one reason why people die. But I want to say that they're kind of brilliant when you find the right one. But who really needs that? Like, there's so much, again, that's emergency purposes, to go to the doctor for antibiotics and things that, the same thing as the vet, that you can just be handling yourself at home. I never take medication, ever.
I'm wondering, you said you're 44, I'm 47. So I'm kind of wondering, was at some point in our society when we forgot the old way, because, our grandparents, our great-grandparents didn't have access to the things, and you remember all these they probably call them old wives' tales. Use this to fix this, fix that. Do you think it's more of a societal thing that made us stop taking care of ourselves the holistic way, the natural way we used to?
100%. And it's such an important topic to talk about, because what's interesting is even when I teach people, right? So we know this had to do with, big pharma, right? When they decided to come in and wipe everything out, the only medicine that used to be there was herbal and homeopathic medicine. They actually had homeopathic hospitals. You went in and you actually were prescribed those little homeopathic pellets. Okay. They'll cost you $7 or $8, things that you should always have in your cabinet. That got wiped out because that was not making money. And from that point forward, everything has been money driven. But what's so interesting is that even though that was original medicine, even people that work with me, right, and they know kind of the education they're going to receive, and they know kind of the frame of mind I come from, they're like, ooh, I don't know. But I think I should take that antibiotic. Right? And listen, I'm never going to stop anybody, right? I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm only here to educate. That's where I draw the line. You have to make that decision yourself. But imagine people being scared to lean on what was the original medicine, because we have been so brainwashed, you know what I mean? To fear what was originally put on this earth that healed people for, you know what I mean? How long? And now we're fearful to lean on those things because our doctor makes us feel like, ooh, yeah, no, if you don't take that, right, you're going to perish overnight. So this is actually where we're at in this world. Right. That's where we're at. You know what I mean?
Use the word perish.
Literally. Yeah. Goodbye to you. Right. So it's tough. But listen, I like challenges, I'm just like, I'm here to just change, the thought process a little bit. Not to shove it down people's throats. That's not the way I operate. It's just really, again, getting back to the basics, opening up your minds, just realizing that the majority of what we're being told is not true, and you can lean on. I had a client who I worked with yesterday, right, who spent just this piece too with the money, right? $8,000. $8,000 the week before Christmas because her dog was throwing up, had some little bit of blood in the stool. So to me right away, right, I know that's a gut issue. I know that the gut is inflamed. $8,000 because the dog had to now be hospitalized for 3 days, receive fluids, given all these shots because they were like, oh, it's pancreatitis. So now stays in the hospital. Then the vet comes in. He's like, oh, yeah, no, it's not showing up as pancreatitis. She's like, you got me on hundreds of dollars, you know what I mean, of shots and testing and this and that. You know what you can do with that? Probably get yourself an $8 homeopathic. Okay, keep it in your cabinet, and that literally would have done the same thing. And this is now the world that we're in. You know what I mean? $8,000 off of these people.
Give your dog the best start possible. We offer proven tools, products, and supplements backed by our real-world experience and our passion for healthy dogs. Yeah, you're 100% right. Yeah, it's a lot of just being a breeder. We have to know ways to stay out of the vet because it's costly. So we had to call breeder free. It is a lot of natural remedies that some stuff that works on dogs and humans at the same time that might be up in your cabinet. Right. But I want to ask you this. Now, I know you're a studious person. So what do you see positive in the world that's maybe coming down in the future pipeline when it comes to the holistic movement or ideology? And give me one thing you might see negative that you see too much.
Okay, I'm going to start with the negative because this really does grind my gears. And then I'm going to finish off with a couple positives, okay? Yeah. I think the crunchy community that they like to label themselves as are a little too crunchy. All right, we're getting to the point where I'm watching people push products right? It's all product driven because we're in a world right now where everything is advertisements, right?
Yeah.
So if I can get like this clickbait video, right, to show you like a worm in the toilet, right? Because the parasites are the biggest thing right now, then I can get you to buy my little spray, you know, that you take and it's going to fix all your problems. I'm having a problem with that because when it comes to health and wellness and doing things, holistically and doing things the right way, I always tell people I'm not Amazon. And if you expect Amazon-like results, you're going to be pretty upset, okay? When you're trying to heal the body from years, right, of toxicity, and you think that you're going to heal the body overnight because you saw some fancy little video, right, of someone taking this spray and, 30 days later, right, I feel like a new person. Nonsense. You know, it's absolute nonsense. And what people have to understand is if you're looking to do it the right way, you've got to go back to the beginning, right? So that's the part that sometimes like I have to really explain to people when I'm working with them. We can literally be working together for 6-7 months. And sometimes in 6-7 months, people are going to be like, oh my God, I have a different dog. And sometimes in 6 or 7 months, I may just have a dog that just finally stopped having massive diarrhea. Do you know what I mean? Every single day, because they were on antibiotics 15 times in the course of 3 years. Okay, no gut is going to survive that. You know what I mean? So that's the part. Yeah, it's just, but I think the positive, I think there's so many. I really know that people are, sorry, my cat, Milo, he likes to be in every video.
Oh, no, it's good. Beautiful cat.
He's a beautiful cat. But so many people are hungry. They're hungry to learn. I think it comes with the unfortunate part of it is that it always starts a little negative because people have been burned, you know, whether it's their own health journey, like myself, where I'm like, no, thank you. I will not end up in the doctor unless my ankle's hanging off. Or there's people whose pets, they're like, you know, they ended up receiving this vaccination, they died, or, you know, I gave the flea and tick and my dog had a seizure, it was never the same. Like it usually does come from that, like, I want to learn because, do you know what I mean? Something else did happen, but people are there. They're wanting to learn the information, you know, that's why I'm busy nonstop, you know, it's just trying to get this information out to people. But I know it's happening and I know it's changing. And I really, you know, am happy to see that people are leaning more on not only the health and wellness for themselves, but they're now like, wait a minute, why am I not making this connection for my pet the same way that I was, you know, 16 years ago? So it's really, really nice to see.
Cool. I got one last question. This is a tough field you're in. I bet you get a bunch of pushback. Oh, no, well. How did you find the courage to go against the grain?
So it's tough. It is challenging. You know, listen, I'm not going to tell you that it happened overnight. You know what I mean? A lot of it was taking these hits and kind of being like, oh man, like, right? Sometimes you're like, I don't even know if I should be doing this. It does become a little overwhelming. But then I guess you really just look at the state of the world and where we've been for so long. You know, things just continue. People say it continues to get worse, but we just have more exposure to what's going on with people through social media, you know, and things like that. I just like to quiet the noise. You know, I'm kind of like, listen, I have people that pay for my service and will still argue with me. Okay, imagine that. I'm like, you do know, you do know who you're working with, right? I'm not going to argue with people. Like, that's not the space I'm in. I'm an educator. You know, I really try to look at things, try to see where people are coming from, you know, but again, I'm not here to tell people what to do. It's literally education. And I always want people to take that education and sit with it and think, you know, does this make sense to you? Does this make sense? You know, you don't want to just be led. You want to be taught, but you definitely want to use your own critical thinking skills and be like, does this make sense to me in my mind? I try to break it down. I'm not trying to trick people, you know what I mean? And talk in these circles. No, let's make it easy. And does this make sense to you? And that's how I try to navigate it. Anybody else who wants to argue, that block, if I could do that in real life, you know, the blocking on Instagram, that's amazing. Okay, block, delete. But I'm not here for, you know what I mean, arguments with people. If you want to learn, you come to the space and you learn about it. You want to argue, it's like, I don't even respond to stuff like that anymore. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you build a thick skin for it, and you just don't waste your time on stuff like that. I had to learn that doing this podcast and stuff.
So I want to say I appreciate you coming. It's been a wonderful, enlightening interview. I would also like you to, for one more time, tell the people how to get in touch with you.
Sure. So my Instagram is Detoxify2, the number 2 Purify. So you can find me on there. In my bio is where I do have the link for the school app. But if anybody has questions too, I always tell people, just reach out to me. I answer my own DMs. You have to be a little patient, because sometimes I get hundreds and it's me, I don't have a bot. Nobody else is answering my stuff but me. But be a little patient with me. But if there's questions, I'm always willing to help people. Just make that contact, because these little things that you are doing can literally add years onto your dog's life. I want to see everybody's pets go from what is now, used to be 20 years old and is now 8 years old, is literally the average. I want to see it back up to the 20 because I'm taking my dog to 22. All right, we're going. We're going every year, but I want that to be for people. I'm so sad that people lose their pets at 4, 5, 6 years old. That no more. We've got to stop that.
For sure. All right, young lady. Well, we appreciate you. Everybody, until the next time, I'm out. Give your dog the best start possible. We offer proven tools, products, and supplements backed by our real-world experience and our passion for healthy dogs.
Step into the realm of canine wisdom with our podcast, NWA Corsos, where we interview dog men and women from around the globe. Discover their talents and insights on breeding, training, nutrition, and the rich history of dogs. Tune in to the most underrated yet influential dog podcast on social media. Your journey into the dog world starts here.